I hope you political observers and election junkies had a relaxing holiday break. Because things are about to get crazy. After a long, mostly uneventful, invisible primary, actual voting in the Republican presidential primary will finally begin in less than 2 weeks. That means presidential race could look drastically different toward the end of month. Some candidates are likely to drop out after a poor performance, while others could suddenly become serious threats to win if they exceed expectations. And most importantly, we'll have hard data on who Republican voters want be president. So we'll be that much closer to knowing whether former President Donald Trump is truly on the fast track the GOP nomination. If you're heading into primary after a week disconnected from politics, Trump is the clear favorite to win both Iowa and New Hampshire, even though one of those states seems like a much better bet for him than other. As Tuesday morning, Trump had 50% the vote, based on an average 538 polls in Iowa, 32 percentage points ahead its closest rival. The average for the Republican primary race in Iowa was 538. Since 2008, no presidential candidate in Iowa has seen their polls change by more than 12 points in the final month before the caucuses. So it would be pretty surprising if Trump lost Iowa by those kinds of numbers. The race to watch in the Hawkeye State is probably the second-place race. Right now, this looks like a fight between Florida Gov. As of Dec. 11, DeSantis and his supporters spent $25 million to $21 million more on ads in the state than Haley and her supporters, according to media tracking firm AdImpact, which helps explain that small difference. She held 49 campaign events in the state between Sept. 1 and Dec. 31, while Haley held only 35, according to tracking by 538 and ABC News. As for the other contenders, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy is currently averaging just 6% the polls despite 192 campaign events in Iowa, putting him on track to finish 4th place. Finally, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson appear to be non-factors in the Hawkeye State. Christie hasn't held a single campaign event there throughout 2023. And Hutchinson hasn't raised enough money to run a viable campaign in New Hampshire. By contrast, Trump's 18-point lead in the polls is a little less decisive. An upset win for Haley, who has recently come within striking distance of him, is out of the question. By Tuesday morning, Trump had 44% of the vote and Haley had 26%. According to 538's New Hampshire polling average, the average for the Republican presidential primary race in New Hampshire was 538. Lately, Haley has received a lot of good news from New Hampshire. On December 12, she received the coveted endorsement of New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, more than any other candidate. By contrast, DeSantis, who currently receives just 8% of the vote in New Hampshire, had no futur.